Hi, Jim Shaw here from Crystal Group. A lot of people ask, how do you guys pick ruggedized hardware, or how do you pick hardware that can be ruggedized? So what are the things that you do to verify that these things will work in these environments that they weren't necessarily maybe designed or planned to be in? And the answer is, well, we do a pretty broad survey of the available content that's out there, and then we do testing. For instance, our motherboards are tested, and we have this prolonged checkout cycle where we're actually go through and step by step verify that all of the functions work. Same thing with video cards or NIC cards. But hard drives are one of the places, or solid state drives, one of the places where we do actually quite a bit of testing. This particular setup right here, we've got various manufacturers of hard drives inside this system, and we are writing data to these drives and then pulling data off of them so that we can test how long the endurance of the drives are. I've got James Turner here with me, and this is what James is in charge of, amongst many other things. But James, describe this process and how we're actually testing these solid state drives.
Well, so basically we'll take a family of drives. We usually want at least 4 of them to get a good idea of what the drives are going to react like in the system, and then we literally just run them until the end of their life. So we'll read, write, ones and zeros over and over again on the drive until the drive fails and can no longer have any sort of writes to the drive.
What kind of errors do those drives throw then when they fail, or do you get anything out of them?
Until they make it to the end of the life cycle. That's kind of the point. We'll run one. If one of them has write errors or some sort of critical errors, we'll maybe throw that one out. That's why we want to have 4 of them. Mm-hmm. Once you go more than one error, or one drive having more than one error, then we pretty much eliminate the family and we just move on.
And can you see when these drives, normally these drives are solid state drives, are over provisioned? Can you see some of these provisioning cells start to drop off as time goes on?
Not with the software we're using in that sense. Okay. You're going to get critical write errors where it is on the drive. You can have, each family of drive is going to have their own proprietary software where you can go back and look at smart data. But the idea is to make it to the end of the drive to the point where there's nothing left of the drive. You've ran out of gas at that point.
Okay, and so then we plot those lives and then compare that to the manufacturer's
correct
advertised life capability.
The industry standard is going to be 5 years. This is, you get X amount of read writes out of a drive in a 5-year span, and we can take that and beat it up, and pretty much within, depending on the size of the drive, within 3 months we can do all the read writes you would do in a normal 5-year lifespan. Okay, and do you do cold and hot testing too, James? Yeah, we'll start out with that. That's usually a deal breaker for us before it even makes it into the system here. If the drives can't handle, rugged temperatures, extremes.
That's a deal killer right there.
Plus 55, negative 40. If it can't make it there, we don't even put them in here because we don't want them.
Okay, so first thing is you do some hot and cold testing to make sure that the drive can function at those extremes, and then we take that on and do the life testing for endurance.
Correct, and then we match it to see if the drives actually made it plus their life cycle according to the spec sheet.
Okay. And the data is pretty interesting, isn't it?
It can be. Yeah. Sometimes you get drives that are 3 times their life cycle, and sometimes they don't quite make it to what the manufacturer says they're going to be.
And the reason this is important is because drive manufacturers, they make recommendations on total read writes per day based on their algorithm, where they send a certain amount of data, and there's really no uniform comparison across the industry. So what's the testing that James is doing here provides us that uniform baseline for comparing drive to drive, and then we use that as a basis for selecting drives that are worthy of being put in a Crystal product. Thanks for your support, James. Appreciate the information you provided us on how you do testing here at Crystal Group. Thank you, and I hope that this has been useful. And I hope that if you have any more questions, that you could contact us on the website. Have a great day.